Good afternoon everyone and welcome to another tournament stream. Today I will only be streaming one match from the 3 of the challengers matches that will happen today, and that has everything to do with the fact that I have therapy and that starts in about an hour, so I need time to basically end the stream and then actually get there. So I will only be streaming Durmon versus ECG and then I will have to leave you. So that kind of sucks, but it is what it is. Nothing I can do about that. But here we go. 5 minutes until the match actually starts. We are going to have fun with it regardless, because yesterday we definitely had. And basically, yeah, that's it. Not much I can do about it. As I said, I mean, I'd love to stream more, but that's just not a possibility right now. So we're just going to enjoy the matchup that we do get the stream, and after that I will love you and leave you, basically. I will be back after for EU, but I will be streaming that together, or commentating that together on Wild Ones Helper stream, and later on I will be streaming NA server on my own account, on my own YouTube channel again. So basically we'll be paying attention to all 3 servers again. Tomorrow I will be streaming like normal again, but yeah, today is a bit special because the thing is that therapy days for me are Tuesday and Thursday, and there's nothing I can do to change that. And as much as I love tournaments, I'm not going to say to therapy like, oh no, sorry, I'm not coming this week to stream a tournament. So yeah, that I'm sorry, but in that case real life takes preference over online life. So that was a very long way of saying I'm sorry, I will only stream the first matchup today, but I will be back to stream the rest tomorrow. Challenges, that is of course for Asia server, professionals, and a mix of, well, actually a mix of professionals and challenges for EU, and professionals totally on NA for me. But basically for every server there is like a bit of a mixture going on with professionals and challenges being streamed, and I really like that. Because even though this is not like the top 8, these teams are still worthy of being streamed. They've worked really hard for this, and they've put in a lot of effort and work to actually get here, so yeah. In the meantime, ECG is completely ready. We see a T22, we see 2 E5s, a Vickers, a Mouse and 2 Kranwagens. And they're going to go up against 2 Kranwagens, 2 E5s, a Mouse, an Ice Fool, and potentially a Vickers if Manko readies up like he is right now. Less than 3 minutes to go before we actually go into the match. So there's still a little bit of time left. Also want to point out again, I'm actually so proud of it that I'm actually getting to stream sort of like full screen. You just have my logo there. I still haven't decided where to put the logo, by the way, because I'm just not entirely certain where to put it, where it's like in the least bit of way, but it's still there. Because it's kind of like my brand, so I want it there. That's sort of like my prerogative as streamer, I think. 2 minutes, 15 seconds left to go before we go into the matchup. It is a best of 5, meaning that the team that reaches 3 victories first will win the matchup. That also means that there's no real pressure yet after the first 2 games. Well, after the first game, and from the second game onwards there can be. So now we just basically wait. Manko still needs to ready up, but for the most part we are just waiting. Not much we can do. This is basically always the boring part, where just basically everyone is ready except for Wargaming and Manko in this case. But they still have time. I just hope, there we go. I was just gonna say I hope he does ready up eventually, but he does that. So with the Vikings, that is the definite lineup for them. And again, now we just wait. 1 minute 17 seconds left to go before we go into the match, which is still plenty of time. OBS looking healthy as per usual. It actually so helps my laptop to not have my browser open. It's basically the combination of browser and OBS endgame that is really upsetting my laptop every time. So I actually have the live control room on my iPad now, which isn't exactly ideal, but it'll do. So basically I have to look down for the chat now rather than just at the side of the screen. I can't wait to actually have like a proper desktop setup with proper with 2 screens and everything, and like proper RAM and all of that. So this just can handle a lot more than my lovely laptop can. And don't get me wrong, I adore my laptop, it's fantastic, but it's no desktop setup. Let's put it that way. 15 seconds left before we go into the first game of this matchup. As said, there is only one matchup that I'm streaming today. Basically, I have to miss out on the other 2 due to therapy. And in that case, real life takes preference over online life, so there is that. But I will be back on Jack's channel, Wild One's Helper, tonight to co-commentate EU with him. And after that, I will be streaming NA on my own channel again. Kind of like repeating myself, but I never know who comes in when, and I pretty much have nothing to say otherwise. But here we go. The first game on Winter Malinovka. And let's see how Durmon and ECG perform this matchup. Dun 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 dun. Thing is, I still don't really understand why Wargaming has decided to do 2 4-team elimination rather than 1 8-team elimination, but they're just trying out different formats here. And we see that the T-22 is heading towards base A to cap it. He's basically uncontested there, so that means that ECG will have a bit of a point advantage here. Unless, of course, we have the Kranvagas going into C and the Vickers into base B, but he's not doing that. So this basically means that there will be a bit of an advantage for ECG there. We hear shots being fired, but no damage has been done just yet. Don Ikudon is basically holding behind the building there. Teams are taking sort of hold down, digging in positions, and base B is completely uncontested. No one is even trying for it. There's planes flying by, and right now all we need to do is see what happens. Basically, there's an advantage for ECG, so it will be up to Durmon to actually make a choice and to actually make a move, choose what they're going to do and how they're going to deal with ECG. And basically, ECG needs to be careful not to be too spread out. Ayanami-chan gets spotted there. Basically, they have to be careful, especially the Vickers, because the Vickers basically are light tanks. They have little armor and can easily take big damage there. But so far, Durmon seems content to just wait, to not make a move. And ECG is the same. The thing is that they have the tanks so spread out, whereas Durmon is much closer together. That in light of that, I think Durmon has an advantage here, if they decide to push. Kane Bio, probably pronounced that all wrong. Now pulling back. The Vickers is going to take his position instead. Which kind of makes sense because the Vickers will be able to get out of there much faster. Dondon has been spotted. Shot has been fired. No damage has been done. Vickers does take some damage though. Not careful enough. Manko there. The Vickers lit him up. But again, the pressure is on Durmon to actually make a move. And they could just push base B at least, just to try and cap it. And that will give them the advantage that they need, because we're already 650 points in for ECG. And at some point, something has to happen. Manko has repositioned himself. The E5s are holding in the spawn. We have ECG rotating around. But still, not much is happening. Basically, this is a very stalemate game. I'm just flying around a bit. And here we go. Don Ikudon making a move. Bouncing a shot, going for that base B. If he manages to get it, then that will be a big advantage for Durmon, and they will get that advantage back very quickly. Zhang Pang is moving and he's not going to be able to reset it in time. And this is going to give Durmon an advantage very quickly. Ayanami-chan taking a hit. Base A is being attacked, and that basically means that they have a gun advantage. up here, but they do need to work it. And this is interesting to see, to be fair, because now they're about to have 3 bases Durmon. They might lose some guns over it, but I'm not sure it's going to be in time. Don Don shooting Zhang Bang. These names though. And Don Don gets blown up. He's the first one gone, but right now, basically JTFK just lost a whole lot of health. Base B and C are being kept. So potentially it could still go every which way, but I'm surprised that ECG did not capitulate on the advantage that they had in town. Blue is yellow. Oof, JFK gets taken out. Blue yellow is pretty much next in line. If they actually focus fire and focus on the low HP targets, which they do, they have 2 bases. It's all going to be about the kills on this stage. Not have PS gets taken out, and with that, ECG still takes home the first match. I don't understand why, after capping base B as well, Durmon actually decided to push base A as well, because that basically split their team up and allowed ECG to take action and roll over them. Definitely interesting first game, but also a bit weird, to be fair. And well played by ECG, reacting the way they did. That was definitely needed. And now in a minute and a half we get to see the second game. And basically what we need to do now is just wait for that to happen. Teams are changing their lineups a little bit, deciding what they want to drive. We see ECG now taking 2 Kranwagens, 2 E5s, a Vickers, a Mouse, and an IS-4 versus 2 maybe not. 2 Kranwagens, 2 E5s, a Mouse, a Vickers, and a T-22. The thing is, had they not gone down to base A, they probably would have had this. They just had to dig in more. Them going A and pushing there is actually what allowed ECG to take the win home. $40 left to go before we go into the second match. There is no giveaway on this specific stream. It is a challenger stream. Only the professional stream have giveaways. But I believe that Fujit and Wild Ones Helper are both having a professional stream, so that would mean that the giveaway for Asia server, well, they're global giveaways anyhow, but those 2 streams will have the giveaways. With 10 seconds left to go, Renka readies up again, so now we're all set to go. And then we get to see what happens in the second match. There's no real pressure just yet. As said before, it is a best of 5, meaning the team that reaches 3 victories first is the one that is going to take home this matchup basically and going through to the upper bracket, whereas the other one will have to go through the lower bracket, but still has a chance. It's only when you lose twice that you are actually out of the competition. So let's have a look. We see Durmon going towards base A. We have Ayanami-chan in Vickers to spot. Not getting up there even though he probably wished to. Blind line of fire going in. Zhang Bang has already been spotted. Of course, a Mouse does stand out a little bit. And base A and B. Base A is being kept, base C and B so far not being contested. And that will mean that Durmon now has a point advantage. And maybe Chenyev will go in. No, he's not going in just yet. Base C is being kept. Coke bottle has been spotted. ECG is being very forwards here. Even though they don't know where all the guns are yet. And as such, C21 gets spotted and tracked. We see little bits and pieces of HP disappearing here and there. And I think in this case, Chenyev is now moving into base B, and I think that that's a good move. Because that will give them the pressure that they really want. we now see that Durmon is responding, going after the two lone e5s. Coke bottle is being pushed as well. We're a lot rather focused. The e5s are putting back, losing a lot of HP as they do so, and the rest of their team is a bit all over the place. Coke bottle not looking too healthy. There's 4 guns versus 3 guns here. And with Coke bottle being too worried about his own HP, he's not really getting the shots in that he needs to. And as such, his teams are losing more. Now, HGC Biki has been taken out. C21 still alive, if barely. And the rest of ECG is actually responding. C21 gets taken out and Coke bottle as well. Basically now we have ECG moving in. Thing is, I'm not sure. There's so many people that are just basically waiting for more targets. Not really. I missed the focus fire here. There's a one shot right in front of them. There go Renko and Cielo. There goes Rin. Let's call him just that. It is 4 versus 4. We have a Vickers versus a Kranwagen. The Kranwagen now looking the other way, shooting Chenyev instead. Don Ikudon is going to face the mouse. JTFK shooting the T22, whereas the Vickers is shooting the Kranwagen. Don Ikudon has been gone. JTFK has been taken out. And the Vickers gets tracked. But he can potentially take out the Kranwagen. He decides to shoot... No idea what happened there. He decides to shoot the T22 instead though. Then he shoots him. And now Hauke is about to be taken out. And there we go. And we have Menko is cute. The last one alive. And he's not going to be able to make it out alive here. And they generally kill each other. This was a very, very messy game, to be honest. It's... I feel that at least ECG's play yesterday was better, more focused. And in this case, especially the focus fire is something that I would focus on. And mainly because you never know how many guns you... Well, you need all the guns out of the equation as soon as possible. So focus firing is basically the key to having a good and successful tournament battle. And that was a bit lacking in this match at least. 1 minute and 18 seconds left to go before we go into the third match. The pressure is on now. If ECG wins this one, then Durmon is out of the is going through to the lower bracket, and ECG is up to the upper bracket. Again, no real pressure just that, because whoever loses this matchup still has a chance to go through the lower bracket and make their way back. Top 2 will eventually go to the next round, which starts tomorrow, which is another 4-team double elimination thing. It's confusing to say the least. So now, for Oasis Palms, we see that the teams are changing their lineups. We see a grill potentially. No, it's a TVP. And 4 E5s, a Vickers and a VK. So that's a lot of mobility with one big super heavy. Versus 3 E5s, a Vickers, 2 IS4s and a T22 medium. Oasis Palms is a tricky map. You have 3 bases. 2 bases are more easily dominated together at the same time. The third base is generally the one where... you can get more done because the positioning is better. So it will be interesting to see what they do with this lineup and what's going to happen. But like I said, the pressure now is on Durmon if they want to go through to the upper bracket. And as said, this is the only matchup that I'm streaming today for the Asia server challenges. That is tomorrow, and the rest of the days I will be streaming all of it again, but just not today. Mainly just don't want there to be any confusion about that, because it is what it is. And nothing I can do about that. So I have ECG focusing on the A and B side, but they are sending the figures maybe or maybe not. No, Ayanami is turning around. We're going to see some action around base A and B, I believe. with the E5s over here. Whereas Duramon is heading mostly towards base C. VK gets spotted. The thing is that this is basically to protect base C. Base A is going to be kept as well. No one is there. They could potentially take base B as well. But it is tricky. In this case, Duramon has a point advantage. And they basically, with their being no TDs, you don't have to worry as much about snipers. JTFK has changed its position to side scrape from another building to potentially get shots into the desert over there. And base B seems to be neglected for now. Chenyev making a move though. He might go into it. Thing is, that is what I meant with the bases being more controlled together. No, Chenyev going into a different position after all. Some lines of fire happening. And not sure what Chenyev is doing here. Wanting to go into base B, but deciding not to after all, maybe. Basically, Duramon is spread out quite nicely through the desert. But without that base B, there's no real pressure on anyone just yet. And we have Hauke here holding. That is probably a reason that base B is not being kept. Because he could decap it from there very easily. Chenyev getting a response there. But so far no real shots are being fired. This is again a stalemate game. Both teams are contently waiting for the other to do something. And now we have a Vickers going into base B. And let's see, Hauke has been spotted, so they know that there's someone there. And as such, Ayanami-chan is getting out of there, making it out without losing any HP. But Hauke, they know that he is there now. And we see the VK versus the Ice 4. Neither of which is doing damages yet. Ayanami-chan going across the back to basically a TD position. Lines of fire happening, no real damage is being done just yet. Zhengpang wanting help. Wanting to go after the Vickers. And basically now we're just waiting for something to happen. No real action being taken on either side just yet. Zhangpeng is moving in. Coke Bottle is not moving in after all. And now we have JTFK moving in. Getting tracked there by Hauke. But if anyone can get away with it, it will be the VK. And there we go. It doesn't matter if he's got reset, by the way, because he's keeping his HP. And basically they just need to be careful. Now he's losing a little bit of HP. But the Ice Fool is getting shot from behind now, so he has to make a move. And he's doing that by trying to get to the other side of the VK. Which, to be fair, is a good call, because most of his team is in that direction now. They did get base B though. And that is very important, because that's giving them that edge that they need, as long as they keep their team alive. Hauke not looking too healthy. Zhengpeng has been taken out. Pushing where it didn't work. Basically, they're now ignoring Hauke, who's right behind their VK. No one is shooting him. Coke Bottle has been taken out. There we go. Hauke finally gets taken out. Base C has been kept. They really need to make sure that those tanks are taken out of the equation, but so far not have PS is very lucky there. Base A is being stolen. Base B is going to get stolen with the VK no longer there. They basically need to get one more kill. Renka has been taken out. With base C, as long as they survive, then ECG will have it, and there we go. They have it. And that means with a 3-0, ECG is through to the grand finals of this first. Oh god, it's so confusing. This first double bracket. But it also means that they're definitely through to the top 4, because with them being in the upper bracket, they are through to tomorrow's matches either way, whereas Durmon still has to prove themselves. Damage-wise, it wasn't all that far apart though, and I actually thought that Durmon might have had this, but they lost tanks too, and that is basically what cost them this battle. So that is the first matchup up and over. Let's have a look. So basically Durmon needs to go against Twilight, and the winner of that will also be through to the top 4, but they need to decide on a specific place, and that's why they will battle ECG as well. Like I said though, I will only be streaming the one match. I'm also going to have a quick look at how it's working with professionals. Feast versus ID is still happening, so nothing to tell you there yet. And on the other side we have E7 versus RN. That is also still happening, so nothing to share in that regard. I'm actually going to have a quick look at the other group for the challenges, because I didn't actually do that. NQ7 is probably also still going. No, they won from DGG. No, that was today, yeah. So they are through to the upper bracket as well, and that means that DTG is up against Kami next. So Challenges is known, Professionals is not. But as I said, this will be the only matchup that I stream for Asia Challenges today, because I have to go and get ready for therapy. So thank you all for watching. Sorry that it's only one matchup. Tomorrow I will be back to streaming pretty much all the Challenges matches again for Asia server. And yeah, thank you all for watching. Thank you for bearing with me, and I'll see you all then. Bye bye.